Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a very blessed day, and I am coming to you today to talk about my testimony. I've been reading a book lately called Draw the Circle, the 40-Day Prayer Challenge by Mark Batterson, New York Times bestselling author of The Circle Maker. This is a very good book. If you press into God's presence like never before, you will experience God like never before. You'll look back on the 40 days as the best 40 days of your life. They won't be the easiest 40 days. In fact, they may be the hardest. Don't be surprised if you've experienced spiritual opposition along the way, but if you pray through, God will break through in new ways. It is inevitable as the tide coming in. Whew. And this book, we finished it as a church ladies group just the other day. This book is so powerful, and if you pray through these 40 days, you will not regret it. I just suggest this highly for anybody who is looking for a way to get close to God. It has Bible verses, it has quotes and spiritual things that you never thought about, and it will really fix you into the Lord's Prayer. So a testimony is, to me, a testimony is a story you give about how you come to know God and how He has impacted your life. So today I wanted to just show you or tell you about how God impacted my life. So what I wanted to tell you is from the beginning, my childhood up until getting married and so forth and so on, how God has impacted my life. And I hope that this blesses you, and maybe you'll feel obligated to share your testimony when you hear mine. So let's begin when I was a child. I got saved at the age of 8 years old. And I honestly don't think I got saved for the right reasons. I don't think that I went to the altar and professed my faith like I should have. And I don't think that I knew God fully back then. I think it was more of a, I'm 8 years old and everybody's kind of going up there, and I just got excited and went for it. And in that time, I think that I don't think that it was wrong or anything. I was 8, obviously 8 years old, and that wasn't really something that I should have. I think that I just was naive. So fast forward to my teenage years, I completely was just a reckless teenager. I hung out with the wrong people, and just to be quite honest, I would drink with people I knew, and I would lie to my parents a lot. I had like an obsession with boys. I just was like boy crazy, and I didn't experiment with drugs or anything because I went through a lot as a teenager, seeing some family members that were addicted to drugs. That really impacted me in a positive way. Unfortunately, it showed me that I didn't need to go down that path, and that I saw how much it affected my mom and my family, and we often got up in the middle of the night to go and deal with things, and I was really resentful of people in our lives that were on drugs, and I now know through God that I should have been more supportive of those people and cared about those people a lot more, instead of being so resentful and so hurt and so strong-willed to be against that person. I should have been supporting them and patting them on the back and trying to show them God's love through myself, and I really regret that now. Now that I've grown up and matured, I know better now. But anyways, as a teenager, I did anything I could. I didn't blatantly go against my parents. I didn't say I'm going to do this to spite them, but I often did things that were just ridiculous and immature, and I often hurt my family, I think, from doing those things anytime my mom found out. And there's things she didn't know about, and now I know that as a mother, I would be so sad to know that my child had went through those things or had done anything that I had did as a teenager. So I went to church every Sunday and Wednesday, but I was very much a back row Baptist. I sat on the back row and I let things go one ear and out the other, or I often would hear God talk to me and I would run from God. I think that I thought that, oh, well, one day I'll get older and I'll just grow up and I'll deal with God then. Or I thank God every day that He gave me a second chance, because I wasn't promised tomorrow, and if I would have died, I probably would have went to hell for my sins, because I knew better and I still went against what God wanted me to do. And I just urge you, if you're out there watching this, if you're a young person and you don't know God, just find God in something that you can see God in. See God in the blessings that you've received in your life. Okay, going on throughout my teenage years, I ended up having a lot of health issues. I had a sternum surgery, which I've talked about on this channel. It's the very first video I ever made. I had a sternum realignment surgery, which really impacted my life in a great big way. I remember my church family. I've been at the same church since I was a baby and all the way until now. I bring my own kids there. And when I went through that surgery at 15, my church family was the most supportive family I had. They were writing me letters, sending me gifts, just making me feel God's love around me constantly, reminding me that God loved me and that I was so blessed to be healed, and I'm so thankful that they were there for me at that time. And I really think that I ran from God up until probably my marriage, and then I saw that I wanted more for my family together. I often felt guilty if I ever did anything, like that I felt was against God. I think He was really talking to me, preparing me to be a mother and to see that I raised my children the right way. And I'm so blessed that He talked to me at those times. I had my daughter, and she really, really impacted my life in a great way. But I still held on to resentment and hate, and I hate to say it, but it was hate. It was spiteful hate. I was very angry at the people in my family who still had the drug problems. At the time, I would talk nasty about them, and I never prayed for them. I never thought good thoughts for them. And I think that God was trying to tell me that entire time that if I would just let go of that burden and give it to Him, that He would correct those relationships in my life so that I didn't have to feel such horrible feelings all the time. I think that God will take away any burden that you have emotionally. If you will just give it to Him, He will take that weight off your shoulders, and you'll feel the Spirit of Him all around you. And I didn't do that for a long time. Up until probably this year, it took me that long to just really realize that judging people is not the key to life anymore. Judging them and thinking that you are higher than them is not the key to life. God says that He loves everyone, and I believe that anyone out there, no matter what your sin is, every sin is the same, and He loves you. And the way you handle your sins is up to you and God. If you allow Him to. If you run from Him your entire life, that's up to you. But it's not my place to judge you. It's my place to pray for you and to love you and to never treat you any differently. And that's what I struggled with. I was very judgmental and very angry because I thought that that parts of my childhood were taken away, or my mom had been put under so much stress, or our family just had been through so much, and I was tired of going to school and hearing about it, or being told that I'm going to end up the same way. I just was very angry about those things. And then my sons were born, and I was put into such a vulnerable place. I had my daughter, and she was 1.5 years. And then and I get teary-eyed every time I think about it, because I was put into such a low place, and God told me so many times a day that He gives life, and He will be the judge of all life, and I needed to be put into a vulnerable place to see that I need support just like everyone else. I was so vulnerable during that time. My twin boys were born 6 weeks early, and I know that there are babies in far worse situations. My sons were very blessed. They had minimal problems. I still stayed in the hospital with them for 2 months, and I still had to figure out how to be a mother to a daughter at home and to twin boys in the hospital for 2 months, and it just was very hard for me. And I heard God's voice every single day I was in that hospital. Walking the halls or sitting beside their little bassinet incubators, I would see their tiny little feet, and God was so good to me during that time. And then soon after that, a family member that I had so much resentment for came home, and some more of my family members went through a really rough time that I had never seen coming. In a way, I took them for granted and just thought they were the strongest person, and then all of a sudden they also went through some addiction issues, and it rocked my world, because I saw this other person, and I was like, well, in my opinion, I had went through this time where I was like, just do away with anybody who puts me through hard times, and I had come up with this quote in my head that if you shouldn't feel bad about doing away with toxic people. And I never looked at that toxic person like God looks at me. And there were times that I was a toxic person as a teenager. I would do things against my parents or against other people, and I was a toxic person, and God never strayed away from me, and I am so blessed He didn't. So how, as a Christian, if somebody told me that they had no love for my child, and to just do away with them, I would be heartbroken. And then I saw my boys, and I saw how weak they were, and I thought in my head, like, what if someone told me just to do away with them because they were lesser a person than I thought, or they thought they should be. So I came to the realization that I was in no place to judge that family member anymore. I needed to woman up and Christian up and be a better role model, a better family member, a better godly person, and be there for that person. And until I did that, I had so much anger and so much harsh feelings towards that person. And once I gave that to God, I felt so much better. I felt like, a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and that God was sovereign and God was good and He was going to take care of our family. And ever since then, ever since I gave that to God and really prayed for them, it has just blew up into a mountain of good things. They're now in church. They've got their license back. They've finished rehab. Both of them have finished rehab, the people I'm talking about. They're all in church with us every Sunday. They have jobs. They're godly men. A person that is now doing so well, and he's such a big blessing that I am so blessed to be around him and just to see his build up in Christ. And I am truly blessed to be all of these things now. I can be a family member that is supportive. I can be a mother. I can be a wife. My husband is in church now. And I'm so blessed to say that he sits beside me at church. And I pray with my family, my entire family, and I'm just going to keep proclaiming Jesus' name. My testimony is a testimony of a judgmental person who was not perfect in God in any way and just claimed to be. And then God fixed my life and told me that if I ever wanted to be happy or wanted to truly proclaim His name, I would have to take away those burdens off of my shoulder. I would have to see that person is somebody's child, and somebody's child deserves to be loved just as much as my child deserves to be loved, or my child deserves to live, and my child deserves to prosper. That person does too. I think that my testimony tells everyone that you can go through just horrible lifestyles that you think you can never come out of, and God will lift you out of those things, and everyone around you should be more supportive and should be more loving and show you what a Christian looks like, not just throw the Bible at you or throw their hand up and say, I'm done with you. Because once you let down your guard and let God do the judging, let God do take hold of your feelings and give you the understanding of that other body that's in the room that's struggling with something, and give you the peace that you need, God will give that to you. God will do it all for you, and you are just meant to be a vessel for Him. And I just pray that if you're watching this and you feel like you may be judgmental, or you may have someone in your life that you've strayed away from, that you just open up to that person and you tell them you love them and you're proud of them for anything they do achieve that's good. And if they're not achieving good things right now, pray for them. You can never get anywhere unless you get on your knees and you pray for that person and you truly care when you're praying for them. Don't just pray a dead-end prayer. Actually care about that person. Don't let harsh feelings keep you from being the Christian you're supposed to be. And that is all I have for my testimony today. I think God just told me to tell my small testimony that of a judgmental person. That's literally what I would name my testimony, a judgmental person. Thinking that you're above hardship and you're above anything that could be, the devil could throw at you, because I thought I was, and God lowered me and told me, like, you are a child of God just as much as that person is a child of God, and you have no right to decide who deserves God and who doesn't. And that's what He told me. He put me in my place, and I'm there today, and I truly am sorry to the people that I didn't care about at the time, and now I care greatly about everyone. I pray that everybody can, come to the understanding that God loves you and He is there for you. And I will see you guys all in the next one. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, comment below something that God has blessed you with in your life today, and I would love to comment back and pray for you. And like I said, I'm praying for you all, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.